Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/Android.
Welcome to All About Android, episode 43, recorded on Tuesday, January 17th, 2012. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Eileen Rivera.
I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And we're back.
The gang's all back together.
Oh, it feels so good to be in studio.
Yeah,
I'm
studio.
so glad not to be in Vegas anymore.
We don't have all that noise like surrounding us.
I know, man. It was just CES was too much for me this year.
We
It was crazy.
missed you because I really would have wanted to talk to you and walk around the show floor and look at Google TV stuff.
I will be honest. I mean, like Mauricio from Revision 3 was feeding me stuff, and then I saw your guys' coverage, and I was like, oh, I kind of wish I was there.
For a Google TV fanboy, if I would, but I'll just go ahead and just stick with fan.
Yeah.
You would have been in heaven.
I'll take
There was
fanboy.
a lot of Google TV.
I'm okay
was
with
the
the term
show.
fanboy. Clearly, I'm okay with fanboy.
I mean, it was not. It was the standard Google TV. There was the smart TV for LG and Samsung, and Lenovo had their own thing. I mean, it was crazy.
I was a little bummed I missed it. I was glad to see that my bullish stance on Google TV was backed up by the product, though. So, I mean,
that's true.
If there hadn't been Google TV stuff, I would have been like a little kind of like, well, it's really cool.
I've been curious to hear what you thought about the Lenovo ice cream sandwich TV.
And let me, you know what,
to see how that compares to your experience with Google
before
TV.
we actually go into, hey, Chad, I just want to show Ron this. So I didn't get to show this on the show last week, but this is the Lenovo running ice cream sandwich. And look at a facial recognition. Here we go. So now he's going to show me. I tried to do this, and
that's cool.
Yeah, so
you could lock your TV.
Yep. So your kids don't buy all those apps.
That's a good idea.
He was promoting it that way. So your kids don't buy all these crazy expensive apps while they're watching TV.
That's pretty clever.
And then they had voice recognition. So the next thing that he's going to show is him talking into. Well, you can swipe on the
the
remote
remote was
here.
pretty cool. You could swipe left to
He
right.
was showing that, and now he's showing me. If you're watching the video, voice on demand, and then he's going to speak and. Didn't quite work, but that was, just showing me like, hey, if you talk into the mic.
There's Tony Wang in the background.
And there's Tony Wang.
That's cool.
So anyways, I wanted to show that last week. I didn't get a chance, but I'm glad I'm able to show it today. You know what? Today we obviously are still talking about CES. It's kind of the post-CES hangover show.
Oh, boy, tell me about it.
And it's fitting that it's a morning edition
as
well.
I know.
I know. To make it worse
instead of
this
a beer... It's coffee.
Coffee. Oh, well,
Snapple.
But we've got some news on Android design. We've got a little news on CyanogenMod. And the arena is free apps for you. Free. So let's get into our news. Okay, Wired.com has a really nice article on Mateus Duarte. You guys know him, right? He's the big designer for Android that is now working over at Google Land. On Thursday, Google launched Android Design, a website created specifically to help aid developers in the creation of applications for ICS. The site offers a comprehensive visual to third-party application developers, giving suggestions on everything from how to implement different visual elements to overall back-end patterns for the OS itself. Did you guys go on this site, by the way? I mean, it is like step by step. Chad, if you go to Creative Vision or Design Principles or UI, it's like a handbook, quite honestly, for developers. I was kind of just sort of cruising through the entire site itself, and it just takes you down to, thumbnails, to, home screens and the system bar, notifications. I mean, it is walking you through every possible design scenario, typography. I mean, my God. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's great. I mean, I'm seeing more and more of these kind of sites and docs popping up, not just for Android but across the board. I mean, they exist for iOS. I saw one for Facebook the other day, like all the different types of graphics you could use on Facebook with cover images, the profiles, things like that. I think this is great. I mean, I think this is a great resource, and this is really kind of cool.
I think they almost have to go in this direction.
Yeah,
when you take a look at the history of Android leading up until now, and especially prior to Ice Cream Sandwich, you've got things jumping all over the board, and that's been a common criticism is that the UI experience, there's a lot of these different elements that don't follow from app to app. So having some sort of standard guideline for how app developers can kind of create their apps to be more more adaptable with the other apps that exist out there, I think can only mean good things for Android, at least for the greater population that may or may be on the fence about whether they jump into Android or not. This is going to make Android a much more usable, approachable kind of ecosystem for them.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very important step. And man, I didn't realize what I was going to be looking through last night, and I was like, wow, font size, everything, color.
I mean, if you're like an enthusiast or if you're like a hopeful designer, like I just think of so many different categories of people that could get immediately lost in the site. Like just clicking through and see, like even as as he's going through the site, I'm like, ooh, I want to go back to that page.
I know. Oh my God.
And it's really well done. It looks nice. It looks good.
Yeah,
so,
it's clean. I think this is great.
And I think the more consistency you can have over the apps, the more, because that's honestly when you talk not a problem, but when you talk about one of the what's the word I'm looking for? It's early. One of the advantages or like benefits of iOS is that it's very consistent. You get an app. A lot of the action buttons are the same. A lot of the different things like that. If they can bring that over to the Android platform, it will allow the commonplace user to feel more comfortable when they get their applications. Because when you download an app, it seems like it's a brand new paradigm every time.
Absolutely. So, I completely agree, 100%. And I think on the iOS side, I mean, I'm not a developer, A, and I've never developed for iOS, B, but my understanding is that iOS has a very kind of consistent flow between their apps because that's just kind of the way Apple designed it. Here it's a little different. Here they're saying, really, you could go rogue. You could do whatever you want here, but follow these guidelines, and you'll be more likely to kind of gel and play nice with the other apps as far as the look and feel.
When we saw that announcement back in November or whatever with the ice cream sandwich announcement, we said, wow, they're really starting to focus on design. Here it is.
Right, exactly. No, I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, cool. So it was interesting. I was over a friend's house the other day, and he had a phone, and an older phone, and he was hacking it, and he was installing CyanogenMod. And I was like, oh, someone out in the wild. I didn't really expect it. I thought it was interesting. So then when we saw this story that was up on Boing Boing, actually, announcing that CyanogenMod has hit 1 million unique installations.
Congratulations.
And it kind of backed up my realization after I saw my friend do it. Like, wow, this thing's got some traction.
Yeah.
Like it's really, there are people who are, who are installing it and using it. 1 million installs.
And I think it's the go-to destination. I mean, there's many other ways that you could do that, but everybody knows CyanogenMod.
Yeah. And CyanogenMod has its tentacles in so many different devices. I get this question all the time on Twitter where people are like, hey, I know you root in ROM, what's the best ROM for, the Sensation or the this or the that? And it's impossible for me to answer, right? Because every phone, every device that has a root and ROM community has different ROMs being developed for it. Some like CyanogenMod really kind of reaches out and ports their ROM to a ton of different devices because they have a lot of people, a lot of developers kind of working in their side. Peter Alfonso is another one that I've always been a big fan of since the original Motorola days. He does Bugless Beast, and he does those to a few devices, but like the Galaxy or the Nexus devices primarily. But other developers, they just have a single phone, and they're enthusiasts, and they're like, well, I'm going to create a ROM, and those just are compatible with that particular device.
I mean, and it's great to see this kind of hobbyist kind of, do-it-yourself kind of thing emerge, but every now and then there's these different little projects like the Xbox Media Center project and like all these kind of developer kind of things, and where they do have the developer support, they can support the devices, they get enough traction, and they build up, which is probably a pretty legitimate business at this point. Like it's kind of neat to see. I'm curious to see how CyanogenMod continues to develop, and do you think we'll ever see a phone come with CyanogenMod stock?
That's a really good question. I would not be surprised at some point, just because like we've said, it's the go-to alternate ROM for phones, just based on its support, based on its feature set.
So I'm Joe Schmo, Metro PCS. Why wouldn't I sell why wouldn't I get a phone, throw a CyanogenMod on it, and sell it there, and use that as a way to sell it?
How many people would buy that? A lot.
Well, do you even market it that way?
Yeah.
Like you just sell the phone with
sell the
CyanogenMod.
phone,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that would not be the first time. MIUI or MyUI, I'm not really quite sure exactly how you pronounce that. MIUI.
Yeah, we have talked about this before.
MyUI, which is what I call it, has been a very popular alternate ROM, for people to install. And I believe it was last August, there was an announcement that MyUI was going to be a stock ROM on some phones, I think overseas in China. But regardless, that wouldn't be the first time that would happen. And if anyone was going to pull that off, I mean, CyanogenMod has proven time and again that they can make solid ROMs for these phones with a really good feature set.
And a large community behind them, too.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears a little bit here, and this feels like a little old news, but I guess last week we were just covering all CES stuff, so we didn't get a chance to get to some of this other stuff. LG has signed a licensing agreement with Microsoft that covers tablets, phones, and other Android devices. Basically, this means now that 70% of Android smartphones sold in the U.S. are licensing Microsoft patents. Now, LG says that this agreement allows both companies to move beyond the legal issues and get on with doing what both companies do best, which is developing products and delivering services that benefit consumers. So Microsoft making 70%, like making money off the 70% of Android phones out there. It's interesting, especially considering, I mean, are they making as much on Windows Phone quite yet?
It's a good question. I mean,
I guess
there's
we
a
don't
lot
know
of
the
Windows.
answer.
There's a lot of Windows phones out there,
think
though.
so.
I mean, there are a lot of.
Well, the new Nokia, the 710.
If they're not, they will.
Yeah,
But still.
But it's again, you make money where you can make money.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, in
Look
this
at all
case,
the deals they have.
I know they've got deals with HTC, a bunch of these I can't say that I've heard of. Wistron, Onkyo, Velocity Micro, General Dynamics, Acer, ViewSonic, Samsung. Motorola is not on this list, of course. So they've got a little bit of a gap to close, but they could be closing in on 100% if they play their cards right. That's a smart way to do it. Make money off of your competitors.
No wonder
Absolutely.
they don't have to be at CES anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, kudos to Microsoft for their deals.
suppose so.
All right, we're gonna have we have one email before we take a quick break, and this is from Neil. Oh man, he even gave it to me in Oiatha. Oiatha? Is that
Oiatha?
how you say it?
Oiatha.
Oiatha.
Yeah,
Neil, I
that's
butchered
a-
your name. I'm sorry.
Olaf. I like
Oh,
Olaf
that's-
better.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
That's how I would read it. But that's where he's from.
Eliath.
Well,
That's
he's
what it
got
is.
a question. He's talking about Google TV, so you'll be interested in this. In regard to the question of preferring Google TV built into the TV or being part of a set-top box, which you talked about at CES, if it's built into the TV, you need some way to completely disable it. Here's why. If the manufacturer isn't going to provide an update to the latest Google TV and you decided to get it through a set-top box, wouldn't the old Google TV in the TV be running on top of the new Google TV in the set-top box? Whew. I bring this up because I returned my Sony Google TV because there was no pass-through mode for gaming. This leads me to think I'd also be stuck with whatever version of Google TV the manufacturer decides to support. For now, I'm going to stick with quote-unquote dumb TVs with smart set-top boxes. And this goes to our conversation at CES.
Right.
We were talking about this very thing. Thank you, Neil, for your response. And you weren't there for that.
I wasn't there for that, but it's valid. I mean, it's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's a reason why I didn't purchase a Sony Internet TV and I bought the box. Personally, I agree with him. I think that your monitor should be dumb. Your monitor should be a monitor. And then any sort of set-top boxes or anything that you want running it is because that way then you can change it and update it. If you've got a Sony TV with Google TV in it, you are going to be limited to buy. I don't know how the updates work specifically, but I'm guessing that was similar to the way they worked with the phones. When Sony releases an update, then you'll get the update. So if there's another Google TV OS update, you got to wait for Sony to make sure it works on their devices and then they release it. If you want control over that, don't get the Internet TV, get the set-top box. Why you'd run an Internet TV with Google TV and a set-top box on top of it, that just seems like insanity. but
you want the updates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess so. But no, personally, I mean, like, and I know a lot of the TVs you can't avoid it. Like my sister just got one of the Samsung LEDs for Christmas or whatever, and it had all this Netflix app and Facebook app and all the Samsung Smart TV stuff and all that. You can't just don't use it. I mean, that's kind of my approach to it. Just like don't worry about that stuff. And here's the Google TV. Use that, and you got a little more control over it. Yeah. But yeah, that's the price of doing business, I guess. Really,
Which led to the title of our show.
Yeah.
The other big F.
I don't know. Personally, it would be hard for me to believe that if you had some sort of advanced functionality, which is what Google TV provides into, a TV set environment, that there wouldn't be a way to disable it for those that don't want to use it. But I mean, I guess that depends on whether the TV is based on Google TV,
right,
or if Google TV is an added feature to the TV.
Right.
You know what I mean? If the entire UI interface for how you do everything, brightness, sound settings, and Google TV is all blended together.
How baked into it is?
Yeah, how baked in is it, or is it just an added feature? Which is what I would hope it would be the latter, because then you could disable it. But I don't know. In my head, I'm just thinking I'd rather have it in the TV than not have it. I'd rather have that option than not.
Yeah, I don't know. I lean on. I'm a big set-top box leaner. That's just kind of my position. So that way you have total control.
You know for a fact you have control over it.
Yeah, and complaining about no pass through thing. I mean that's I mean it's true. It's difficult. I mean, but I personally, for me, like when I'm buying a TV, I'm looking for the maximum number of inputs. Yeah, and I very rarely do pass through. I actually have a switcher for all my game consoles, and so I've got Xbox and Wii and stuff like that going into the switcher, and then that goes to the TV through a separate input, Google TV through a separate input. So it's that's just me because I'm a little bit of a control freak in that regard. But I can understand that being a complaint. So
sure,
yeah. We have so many set-top boxes in our house too because we're trying, Boxy.
Right. Yeah.
You've got them
we
all.
don't have room for the Google TV in the living room, but we're going to probably take that and move something back to the bedroom. It's just crazy. So
it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. Life is hard.
Life is
entertainment is hard.
First world problem.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor of this episode. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Audible.com. I'm going to go ahead and go off script a little bit here.
Ooh,
all right?
Wow.
Because
let's do it.
I love Audible.com, and I'm not just saying that. I love them. When I was commuting from San Francisco to Petaluma, I had, 50 minutes each way, subscribed to Audible, and I always had a book to listen to. The Steve Jobs bio, Walter Isaacson is on there, and so I enjoyed that, plus a whole lot of other books that they have. They have a huge library, 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, fiction, nonfiction, periodicals, all that. Now here's my complaint, and it's not about Audible. It's about the fact that I don't have a commute anymore. Now I live in Petaluma. I live 3 blocks away from work. And before I moved to Petaluma, I used one of my monthly credits for the Walter Einstein, for the Einstein biography by Walter Isaacson. I made it about a third of the way through. I'm into the relativity chapters right now, and it's really fascinating.
It's gonna be a
but I have 3 blocks to listen to it. So all I'm going to say is if you have a commute, Audible is like your best friend because you always have something exciting and cool to listen to. The Einstein book, by the way, is fascinating. They have the unabridged version of it, and it is super long. But that's what I want out of an audiobook.
Yeah.
I want long and in-depth. You get the most for your money or for your credit. If you have a monthly kind of subscription, you get a credit per month, and you can use that on any book that you want. But now for the offer. For listeners of All About Android, Audible is offering a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out their service. That's one audiobook, and you may consider downloading it. Well, I've already kind of let you know. It's that Einstein book. I love it. To download this audiobook for free or another one of your choice, just go to audiblepodcast.com/Android. That's audiblepodcast.com/Android. And you can take a look at their library and see what you can find. I guarantee you're going to find some stuff. Another one I didn't know about and I'm afraid of is an autobiography by Steve-O.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can he write?
I don't know about that.
Apparently.
Does he actually do the narration for it?
He does the narration. He does the narration for the first hour.
I love it when the people that are alive do the narration to their own book.
That's true. That's true. Well, but that brings up a good point. Is that there's a great thing. She's professional idiot here. But there's a great thing about audiobooks, which is what I really like is the kind of people who take because there's the book and there's a straight read, but then there's the people who do like John Hodgman and his book, where the audiobook is almost like a companion piece to the textbook.
Totally.
It's like a completely different
new level.
David Cross does this with his books, where they brings in other talent and they kind of make it a production out of it. That's really what makes an audiobook sing for me because it's like you get the book experience, but then you get a little more and you get the personality. So,
and don't forget the audio, the Audible app too.
Oh, the app
Chad,
is
you want to go to my screen right here. Here's the really awesome widget in many sizes, and you go in here, opens it up. There's even let's see.
You
There's
can
many
speed
things.
up the play.
Yeah. There's many options on how to listen. I listened to mine like 2 times, 3 times fast. I know, crazy. There's even stats. You know, you could actually. I need more badges. I think the problem is I've been listening to it. I've been listening to various audiobooks, you know, on my computer, not necessarily always on my phone. So I don't get. If I don't listen to it on my phone all the time,
they don't always register.
Badges. So sad.
You don't need no stinking badges.
Okay, thank you, Jason. But no, this app is really handy. So it's got my entire library. You can see some of the stuff that I read Bossy Pants already, but it's still there if I want to re-listen to it.
Yeah, that was a good one, by the way. Talk about an audiobook that kind of brings a new kind of dimension to it.
The best part is when she brought in clips from SNL to kind of to emphasize
to illustrate or whatever.
This time in you know in her work.
That's cool.
World.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah, she did the whole. They played the whole Palin bit. It was
really?
awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
So anyways, Audible.com, amazing. Thank you.
And I do realize the ridiculousness of, in one breath, recommending Einstein, and in the other breath, mentioning the autobiography of Steve-O. Wow. Okay, anyways, audiblepodcast.com. Yeah, I know, right? That's both sides of the scale there. audiblepodcast.com/Android. Check it out. All right, let's move on to hardware. So, you know, we got back from CES a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I've pushed out the bad of CES, and that the bad is usually if you go to CES and cover it every single year, you probably realize that you're either going to get sick while you're there, or you're going to get sick when you get back, because it's just such a ringer. I got sick when I got back, but I'm feeling much better today. But having moved beyond that, other than sickness, what do we have any final thoughts of what we saw at CES, just kind of in retrospect in the rear view?
I don't know if I saw enough, quite honestly.
Well, you can never. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, like, I always compare it to my big show is the San Diego Comic-Con, and you can't see everything. You just can't. You have to accept that going.
It's mammoth.
So you have to zero in on the things that you're interested in and hope that you can, you know. So.
I wanted to see more Android stuff. I didn't get a chance because, you know, I got to cover, you know.
Oh, the whole work thing got in the way.
The whole work thing got in the way. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit. There was a lot of Google TV there, and I was really happy to see that. I really felt like there was a lot of Android going on there, but then when I really went out to try and find it and stuff, it was really hard to find. Or you'd end up finding these really low-tier kind of device manufacturers, and so you were seeing Android everywhere, but when you actually kind of looked at it through a magnifying glass, you're like, yeah, but a lot of that you probably don't want anyway.
It was like Android embedded. You know, I mean, the watches,
or powered.
Yeah.
There was no. I know watching from home, there was no. Oh my God, I can't believe that just got announced. Kind of moments for me. It was kind of like, oh, neat. Okay, cool. See that. You know. You know, but on your guys' side, I mean, what about? Remember, there was a lot of speculation about the accessories and charging. So did any of that come through?
There was a little bit, you know, some more kind of like car stereos with Android embedded into them. Things like that I really wanted to find time to be able to actually check out in person, because that's a little bit different, and we've been waiting for that, but not a whole lot. I mean, the accessories thing just really doesn't seem to match what you find on, you know, as far as support for other platforms. And that's kind of a bummer, because there are so many people with Android phones, but there's just not that specific tied to Android hardware requirement that things like iOS has that allow you to do some really cool things with head units. And I would love to be able to do that with my phone and head units in the car, but just not so much.
I just remember the day that we had decided we were going to finally walk the floor before the show. Your text message was like, I'm not finding anything around here. And I was like, oh no, and I hadn't started yet. So
you guys had that after hours access, right? You had that you could walk around the floor when it was empty because you were
we had but by then we wanted to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
We were like, I gotta get
all your day there. Just to follow up on a few things we did talk about on the CES episode last week, the Motorola Droid Razr Max is said to be coming out on Verizon. It has a release date of January 26th.
Awesome
that's the Razr with the 3,300 milliamp hours battery.
That I'm tempted with. Even with Moto Blur, I'm tempted, honestly. That phone was nice. I really liked it.
Like I said in my review,
that phone.
The Razr is a solid device, and it actually gave me pause. I'm happy with the Galaxy Nexus, but man, if I could get ice cream sandwich on the Razr, or you know, even just considering rooting it and putting ice cream sandwich on myself, the hardware itself was pretty good. The screen maybe not as good, but everything else was great. Droid 4 is looming. Verizon drops the Droid 3 price to $99 with a 2-year contract. That obviously means that the Droid 4 that we saw at CES is right around the corner, and the price is rumored to be $250 for the Droid 4 with a 2-year contract, which is about what we thought.
Those who want a keyboard, this is your new phone. I think.
There it is.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a great update to the
Didn't the
Droid
keys light up?
it was the backlit keys.
Yeah, backlit
And
keys and everything.
it's got the Battlestar edges, kind of like the new Zoom. You know, like that looks like their new form factor. So,
That totally is. That's how they're characterizing their whole device set. So. Good on you, Motorola.
So speaking of Motorola, some word of ice cream sandwich getting rolled out to some select Motorola Zooms. It was happening, but as soon as it happens, that someone posted and up on the XDA developers site instructions on how to do it yourself. Now I do have a Motorola Zoom at home. I have not done it yet, purely just because I haven't had any time to actually do anything in my personal life. But much like how I installed ice cream sandwich on my phone, I do plan on doing it. I'll probably get to it this week, so maybe next week I'll report back on. Maybe I'll bring it in and maybe we can see it, that sort of thing. But normally the install yourself stuff is pretty easy. It's just to download the package and it's not too hard, and then reboot and tell it where to find it. So the instructions, I read through the instructions, they were very similar to doing it on the phone. So
that is one thing that actually we did get a chance to see at CES that I was looking forward to was ice cream sandwich on a tablet.
On a tablet on the Prime.
How it works there.
The Prime.
Yeah, was it good?
The Prime was good.
Oh, really?
The Prime.
She fell in love.
I fell in love with the Prime, and I fell in love with the Samsung 7.7.
Wow. Did you see oh wait, which one? Is the Prime's not the Transformer Prime?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah,
Oh,
with the dock and with the, was it cool? Was it like a laptop?
Oh,
that's
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it was really
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, and it was. I saw it early without ice cream sandwich. 2 nights before, they said, "Oh, 2 more days." I said, "Okay, fine." But I got to play with it and use it as a laptop, and then take it out of the dock, and then use it as a tablet. And then we saw it on our stage with ice cream sandwich and played a game with it.
With a PS3
You see, like
controller.
devices like that make me wish I was like George Clooney and Up in the Air, where I was like a real road warrior flying
you could
around,
just
because I could just
buy
pull out my
whatever you want.
exactly
Yeah.
but now no. So that's what.
No, those. What was your favorite device, Jason?
Well, I mean, the Prime, it's hard to top that. For a tablet, that was the most impressive tablet. And the funny thing is, it's not like the Prime is new. It's not CES new. It had kind of, been teased for a few months prior and come out in December.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of seeing it there with ice cream sandwich. But I mean, as far as tablet device is concerned, for running Android, the Prime was really impressive. You got to be okay with spending, that $500 kind of amount for the tablet, but I think you're getting your money's worth there. It's solid hardware. Hamilton in the chat room just kind of pointed out that the quad-core ice cream sandwich tablet that we talked about, the Asus tablet, which I guess is going to be kind of the smaller smaller version of the Prime, more or less, for $250, has a second quarter release date at this point, possibly. So that's something to look out for. That had a lot of buzz at CES.
It did, and I
well.
wish I had a chance to. I went to the NVIDIA booth where it was, and it was locked, and so I didn't really get to feel because I felt like it was heavier with the lock,
Yeah, no,
it
totally.
was
Because it was.
Like, dang, they
Those
didn't want
locks
you to
throw
take
that
that
off
out,
a
and they were
little
kind of
bit,
looping
for sure.
video. They wanted to make sure you see how videos played on there. I did a little bit of playing around with it, but I didn't feel like I really got a hands-on with the device. But 4-core, that's what they were,
that's going to be a
pimping.
A hot tablet, especially for $250.
That is the cheapest. See if I got. Here's the picture that I have here.
Pimpin' cores.
Pimpin' cores. There it is, locked. I don't know if you can see my monitor, Chad, but there it is. That's what they were playing.
4-core.
I know. I spelled it so.
4-core. And 7 years ago, our
I took some video of
forefathers
it, but I don't
embarked
think it
on a
turned
most
out.
excellent adventure.
It was small, 7 inches.
Yeah.
I really like the 7. I'm starting to really kind of dig the 7-inch, like between
the
7
smaller,
and 8
Yeah.
for reading, for entertainment, for just portability.
It's tough because I hear a lot of complaints about the 7 inches, mainly the Kindle Fire and stuff like that, being on the comic side of things, because it is a smaller space, and everybody seems to like that big, the 10-inch kind of form factor. But every time I hold a Nook or a Kindle Fire or a Galaxy Tab, I'm like, oh, I could, it fits in my back pocket, like it's tempting.
Yeah, Nicole had been using the Zyborg. all
the
week.
Zyborg.
The
I love that name.
7-inch Zyborg, Motorola Zyborg, and she loved it. She was just, it was just in her purse, and I was like, "Can you check the Google Doc really quick?" When we, and it's got Verizon 4G LTE on it, so she's just like looking at it.
I would love to be. Again, I wish I was at CES because I would love to be in a production mode and just stick with the tablet and see how it works and accessing documents and managing schedules and stuff like that. Like I could see, because I remember the last time I worked CES when I was at Revision 3, I was tethered to my laptop the entire time and carrying it around. It would just be great to move to a smaller form factor tablet and be able to, So
I still think we needed our laptops, but it was nice to have that the portability, because sometimes on your phone you're pulling up Google Docs and then you gotta move it around. And,
I know. I had to direct TNT with the Google Doc on my phone because my laptop was taking screenshots for the show, so I had to have it on there. And Google Docs is serviceable on the phone, but it's not ideal necessarily.
It's just for working like you, for just reference
through
is
the
fine.
browser, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you use the Doc app?
I tried to use the Doc app, but every time I clicked the sheet, it would not take me to the sheet, so I ended up having to use the browser to get there. It was really weird. I don't know why. Normally that works, and it wouldn't work at CES. But anyways, all right. Let's dive into our apps.
There's not much app news.
Yeah.
We were kind of digging.
I know.
But we'll have Arena.
There's just not
apps.
much news, period.
Yeah, you know what it was?
CES.
Yesterday in the United States was Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
So it was today, by the end of the day, there'll be all this stuff. We're like, oh, too bad we can't.
Well, and you're after a big event like CES, things are going to drop off a little, and they'll build up to probably the Mobile World Congress. That's probably the next big kind of moment. So,
well, the only thing that I found that I wanted to talk about was, do you guys remember Groove Shark? It's a music app, and I've used it. I've had a subscription before. Really good music discovery site. Who had been sued by almost every, if not every, major label.
The mark of success for a music app is that
if
you're doing a music application and you don't get sued, you're doing something wrong.
Well, they've been banned, but they're returned now with an iOS and Android HTML5 app. So if you really love Groove Shark, and if you don't have their old app, and you want to use their service, there's so many services out there to choose from. They do have an HTML5 app.
I do got to admit that Groove Shark is one of those apps that I don't know many people who use it, but the people who do use it are like loyal.
Oh yeah.
Like a really strong following.
I have an account. Well, I had one. I think it expired. Sorry guys, but you could favorite. Pretty much every song that you can think of is out there, which is why they're getting sued. But no, it's a decent service. So I was using it for quite a while, and I think I showed off their app like, I don't know, 7 months ago on the show at the time, and when they were having some issues, and then they had even more issues since then. So kind of welcome back, Groove Shark, a little bit. I don't know. And now moving on to one more email.
Oh, let's see here. So we got an email from Dean, who says, I've got a Verizon Galaxy Nexus. I got two. And I'm having a heck of a time copying files between the phone and my PC when connected via USB cable. Scouring forums seems to indicate that this is a known problem. Have you guys come up with any solutions, tips, or tricks to share? Thanks, Dean. This was an issue that I have not experienced myself, but then I have not done a whole lot of moving files onto my Galaxy Nexus. I've moved a lot of stuff off, and with the Mac version, because of the MTP file system on here, we've talked about it in previous episodes, you need an app that actually Google provides. It's called Android File Transfer. Just Google that and you'll be able to find it. In order to do that, that'll allow you to move things over. But this is a known problem. When copying something like pictures to the Google, Galaxy Nexus, although a lot of people say that it's anything, a few of those files will copy normally, then the copy process will hang indefinitely. Seeing this reported on PC, Ubuntu, and Mac. Very mixed results. Some people experience this every time. Some people have never experienced it. Rooted, unrooted, doesn't matter. Large files or large groups of files are kind of result in this issue. Seems to be an issue from what I can kind of pull from the forums and stuff with how different computers handle the MTP file systems that exist on the Galaxy Nexus, which has, as we've talked about, no removable storage. And so some of the solutions, there are workarounds. There's no fix for this. And so that's kind of a bummer. Maybe there will be in the future, but there are workarounds. So things to check. Make sure you're using the cable that came with your phone. Some think that this might be part of the problem. I'm suspicious of that personally, but there is a difference between some USB cables that will allow you to kind of transfer files and some that are just more meant for charging. So make sure about that. Copy your file, and this is another tip here, copy your files to the root directory and then move them from that location to the directory of your choosing, which is kind of a two-step process, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. You could do that with like a file manager like Astro that you have installed in here. If you copy the files to your root and that's successful, then you can use Astro on your phone to then move those to like the pictures folder so that they show up in your gallery, that sort of thing. Some say that deleting the pictures folder and then creating your own works in that it removes any strange permissions that the previous pictures folder may have had. I imagine this could work for other folders as well. So some also say this does nothing. It's really like hit or miss with this. And then there are a couple of other ways, and some in the chat room are shouting this out as well. Wireless file transfer, like Wi-Fi File Explorer, can do the trick. This will allow you to kind of do it wirelessly, and everyone says that that's a good way of doing it. Lots reporting saying AirDroid, you can find that at airdroid.com, worked as well. You could create an FTP server out of your phone with SwiftTP, SwiftFTP, or any other FTP server app for your phone. And finally, Dropbox is another way. If you have Dropbox installed on your phone, you could take the files, move them to a Dropbox folder, and then access that from your Android device and copy them in there. None of those ways are ideal because they aren't nearly as easy or as quick as just plugging in your USB and moving them straight in. That's kind of a bummer.
You know what's really funny is that I don't know if it was because I'm not on the Galaxy Nexus. I want to call it the Prime. I'm not on the Galaxy Nexus, but after I installed Ice Cream Sandwich, I've had a heck of a time moving stuff via USB to the point where like plugging in the cable on the phone and the phone it doesn't even acknowledge. I wasn't sure if it was a USB conflict on my laptop or not, but I was trying to move some photos off and I wasn't using the cable that came with the phone, so maybe there is some credence to that. I don't know. I was using a generic micro USB cable, but had a heck of a time doing it. And then once I did it, like I was trying to move pictures off and I added a directory called test, and then I went to the phone and it wiped out my gallery. Like my gallery was empty, and I thought, I was like, oh, how did that happen? Then I deleted the test folder, and then they all came back magically. Yeah, so definitely seeing weirdness in Ice Cream Sandwich when you're on the connected, kind of thing. So it's, I mean, really curious to see if any of the problems I had were related to this problem because I'm running Ice Cream Sandwich. So.
I would imagine that they would be related. I mean, both the Nexus S doesn't have a removable SD card, right?
Yes, it does.
It does?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking that it was UMT as well. Okay.
Which is useless to me because I don't have a reader for that card. Like the only,
right. I mean, that would be an easy way to do it. And that's what a lot of people complain about. If it was, a UTP file system, then you could just move it onto the SD, remove it, and you could manage it all from there. MTP seems to be a big issue here.
Yeah, and which is annoying because like when we first talked about this a couple of weeks ago, because with the Motorola Zoom, I have to use the Android file transfer program, and I actually like it. I think it's pretty. I mean, it makes sense. It works fine.
I've totally gotten used to it. I thought I was going to hate it, but it's really not that big a deal. Yeah. You just launch the file. You launch the app, and then everything else is the same from what you're used to doing.
Exactly.
So it hasn't proven to be a big deal. But anyways, there is a link in the show notes that you can find the Google support page on the issue. It is definitely a known issue. Let's hope they do something about it. This is kind of the downside of the Google apps world, or the Google development world, is that they don't have an 800 number for you to call and get support. It's all done through forums and sending in these tickets and hoping they get to it eventually.
And you've got to be patient, and you've got to be sleuth-like in finding. You know, what I mean, like that's I sometimes, and I always go back to this where there's the people like us who I have a problem, I go to Google and I know what forums to check and know things like that. I can't imagine the average person out in the world who doesn't know how to do that, and especially considering the Google branded forums, like all those, forums or whatever, support tickets are just, they're a mess to read. Yeah. Someone writes a garbled, they're having a problem, and then you've got 30 people going, me too, me too, me too, me too. Can Google respond? Why isn't Google responding? And then it becomes this long thing, and it's absolutely useless. I mean, I think actually there's an opportunity for people in the audience. If you wanted to come up with a good website that could be a good little moneymaker, come up with a better Google support system. No, seriously, like somebody, somebody identifies a problem. There are 13 other people who have this problem. Associate your problem with it. Roll up all the problems, and there's an opportunity there. I'm just saying. I give ideas. This is
Yeah. I mean, you're dead on in the fact that it's too bad that this is the only way that we have to go about it. I'm completely used to it. You know, if I have an issue, I go right to Google and do a search and hunt the forums, and I'm usually able to find kind of at least another person that has the same issue that I'm having. Yep. But, you know, my wife, for instance, she's not going to do that. She's going to have an issue with it, and she's either going to live with it or, you know, throw her phone against the wall because she can't figure out why it's not working, and she can't figure out what to do about it, other than ask me, of course.
And then the reaction is, I don't want an Android phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it hurts the brand so much, you know? Absolutely. Yeah, so...
All right.
We're at that time.
Yeah, we're at the time for the arena.
2 enter, 1 lives. Android Arena.
Wow.
Do you know the results, Ron? Do you know the results?
I don't. I'm checking it now, yeah.
Okay, let's just get a close-up of Ron.
Close-up of Ron.
Here we go.
We're waiting for Ron to discover.
Ron...
Look at last week's?
Well, this is 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, remember?
2 weeks ago. Oh,
so,
right.
So
all right.
check and...
Yeah, go ahead.
Whoa!
Yeah, see? This is a real reaction by Ron Richards.
Real reaction of
winning.
joy. You know, and this wasn't like a theme week, I think, right? Yeah. Or was it?
No, this was just a grab bag.
It was just a grab bag, so I feel like you have more to be congratulated on.
That was a pull out of my back pocket. That was, you know what I think did it? It was free. That's
mine was free too.
It's a handy dandy app.
No, it is handy.
It is.
Well, that episode was good in that. Well, 3 of the 4 apps were all kind of like these hardcore like systems settings type apps, and that wasn't planned at all. So I'm sure that was a pretty handy one. I came in last place with Volume Plus. I thought it was going to do better than that. 17%.
I would just like to note that I have a strong showing in Algeria.
Yes, you do. And Argentina loves you. Yep. I would like to thank Australia. Oh, and Brazil is back on my corner. And China. Thank you.
I think the only place that I could safely thank is...
what's this down here? South Africa.
South Africa. Okay. Well, thank you, South Africa. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, wait, there's another one here.
I appreciate your support.
Thailand loves
and
you
Thailand. I love Thailand. That is so weird.
What's interesting is that's just for a moment I didn't even remember what app I did, so that's why I was looking. I was like, wait a minute, because I thought you did. I didn't know if you did. I didn't watch the show last week. I'm sorry, but
fine.
But so I wasn't sure if you didn't do an arena that time. But like that's a testament to, and it kind of ties into the app that I'm going to show in the arena this time around. Just a simple app that does something well.
Right.
Yep. You know, so. Exactly.
Ireland loves you too, Jason.
Thank you, Ireland. I love drinking your Irish whiskey.
Nice. I get to sit back and go last now.
Yeah, you get to rest on your laurels and lose.
Was that the first one of the new year too?
I think so.
Oh, right. So I'm 1-0 on 2012. Tech Ace note.
Yes,
records.
Tech Ace, go ahead. So Norway and Finland liked my app, but Sweden, somehow something in, I don't know how that happened in the world. But anyways.
All right, so that was then. This is now, okay? And now is all about free. And all I know is that I lost last time, which means I go first, right?
Yes.
That's how it goes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm looking to redeem myself this week, and I think I might just. So this week, I am doing an app called. Okay, so first of all the apps are free. That's the requirement, is that it has to be free in the Android market. I chose an app that came out very recently. It's called Clockwork Mod Tether. This is done by Kush, who does the Clockwork as well as CyanogenMod. I believe he does a development for CyanogenMod. But anyways, Kush has created this app that's a free tether app. It's free in the Android market. It does not require a tethering plan. Claims to be undetectable by carriers since it functions as a proxy, which is a little bit different than some of the other tether apps out there. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And this is, like you said, Ron, this is one of those cases where it's an app that is very simple, but very effective. It is free. Essentially what it requires is you have the app installed on your phone, right? And you have to, let's see here. I think because I've already done it. So essentially I have to connect my phone to my laptop with the USB. It's a tether that requires a USB connection to your PC. which also means that you have to install an app on your PC, which kind of sounded like a little bit of a detraction because it's like, oh man, now I have to do that too. But the benefit is that you get free tethering from your phone. I actually used it at CES in a pinch because we had struck down the set.
Yep.
And we didn't have any of our wireless or any of our just internet connection at all set up. And I needed
did you take
to.
Video of this? Oh no, this is something else.
Yeah, this is it running. So this is the app running. It looks like on Windows, and essentially it detects when you have your phone connected to it via USB on your app on your phone. You hit go and it says connect, start the tether on your PC. You hit go on your PC and boom, it creates that kind of proxy and allows you to tether your phone's data connection to your PC without requiring a tethering plan. So it's really that easy.
for those who've never had the tethering experience, I completely depend on it now on my phone.
Yeah.
I cannot live without it.
I do too.
I was when I'm traveling, when I'm in New York and things like that, like quite often everywhere has Wi-Fi, like coffee shops have Wi-Fi. It always sucks. It's never fast enough and stuff like that. And I've completely become dependent on it. And so if you don't have the, I'm lucky to have T-Mobile.
Me too.
Where I can use it. But if you don't have it, this is a great workaround.
It saves you hotels.
Yes.
$13 for 24 hours if you have your, if you have a plan already. Or,
and hotel and like especially like I think I told you the story at Comic-Con 2 years ago. The hotel, the internet just got hammered in the hotel because everyone's connecting and trying to work. Yeah, I'm sure it happened at CES too. And it's great to then get a blazing fast connection and be able to, well, I don't know, blazing, but a fast connection.
Fast.
And be able to,
yeah, okay, so I'm seeing a little bit of gruff in the chat room about this because there is the whole fact of you're not paying for tether and you're using something like this. Right. I'm just going to go ahead and go on the record and say I don't feel bad doing this because the way I use tether is never to use it for large amounts of data. If I'm using
this
tether,
isn't for BitTorrent or
if I'm using tether, it's because it's my last resort. Yeah, and that's the only way I use it. Like at CES, I used this literally to copy a link, the video links into the TNT page and publish it. Yeah, that's it. Now the way that this app can kind of help you along those lines and curb you is that, and before the show, I had to ask whether this qualifies as free. It is free in the Android market, but there's an in-app purchase that after, I think it's 14 days, if you don't buy the premium version of it through the in-app purchase, you're limited to 20 megs per day of tethering. And so it's still highly useful. And in the way that I use a tethering app, which is in an emergency, it's totally useful as a free app. So it qualifies, and we kind of talked about that prior. But
yeah, he checked with us.
I did check.
We said yes, this app is okay.
So if you want more than that, or you feel like you need more than that, then you can pay for the premium kind of in-app purchase. But it is technically free, and that limits you to 20 megs after 14 days. And 20 megs per day for an emergency use tether is totally useful, in my opinion. So I'm sorry if some in the chat room kind of feel like this is kind of I don't know, the wrong way to go about it. I just personally don't see the value of paying $30-40 a month for something that I may never use. The tether is a last resort for me. Right. And so I will use it to put a link on a page, and this allows me to do that.
Which I think is a fair solution. Yeah. That's a fair,
We got your back there, Jason.
Okay, thank you. Anyways, it's Clockwork Mod Tether. You can find it in the Android market. Hopefully you can find it in the Android market.
Is that the name of the episode? We got your back?
We got your back.
We got your back, yo.
Yo.
All right, there you go. That's my app.
I will go next since I also did not win. And I really didn't know. I almost picked an app that I always use, but it's been around for a long time. I didn't think it was fair, so I wanted to introduce something new. And what did I come up with? I came up with a game. That's kind of what I do, right? My game is called Pixel Rain, and I cannot get Purple Rain out of my head now. Every time
at least it's not Chocolate Rain.
Oh, no.
That is true. I totally walked by.
You ruined it.
I totally walked by him in baggage claim at LAX.
Oh, you did?
No, I did. But I was like, hey, and then, so.
That's great.
Anyway, go on.
All right. Well, Pixel Rain is free, and I have the light version. There is, I believe, a paid. Okay. First of all, Pixel Rain, hard. Secondly, here's your soundtrack.
Nice little 8-bit music. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So it's a puzzle game, basically. And I'm going to need your help because I'm still in training mode. This is how hard it is. Chad, can you go to my screen? Okay, so training mode. So basically, I'll go to the easy. It's pretty easy. You got to protect the $ circles or the diamonds on here. So I'm going to play. So basically, you have on the left, you have some objects here that you need to protect this $ here. And this is a pixel, and it's going to rain down on your...
Oh, wait a minute. That makes sense.
Yeah, you get it? So now you only have... See now, the way I can drop it, I can't elegantly drop it. I have to make sure it drops... There we go.
Oh, cool. And you want to protect the thing from the pixel.
And you don't want your... Yeah, so I won. And you don't want that circular $ to fall either. So there's... Okay, so now here. Okay, these are all the pixels at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And
a lot of pixels.
This is my diamond here. So I'm going to, okay, yeah, I think it needs to go in the middle here. I want to protect it. And then I think I'm going to try and put the circle. Please don't bounce. Please fit. Okay, there we go. And now the pixels are going to fall.
Make it rain.
Oh, don't it? Oh, I won. Yes. So it gets harder and harder and harder.
That's a cool game. I like the 8-bit nature.
Yeah, totally.
And I swear, look I'm still in training. I've been playing for like the last day now. Okay, now this, I have no idea what the heck I'm supposed to do. Help me. So I have to protect this circle here, and then I don't know where these go. I'm not quite sure.
Can you place the circle wherever you want?
Yeah, but look.
They're like it's like Tetris.
Yeah, but I do bounce them. Okay, so watch. Now I did this. I'm not quite sure. Do you see how? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed
doing a whole
to
lot
do
there.
here.
Can I go all the?
Yeah, I can go over here, but
Maybe you have to build something.
I'm not. I don't know how to build. They won't stay and build. I suck.
Well, that's not a good game. If
you know what? Let me show you some actual really good gameplay. Chad, you can take my screen here in just a second. I was on the walkthrough, and I still don't know what I'm doing. But anyways. Oh yeah, you guys just saw this mode. I love puzzle games because it makes me think. So yeah, this is how you save. It gets really crazy later. See, there you go. You got like these circles. You got to save. It's insane. And then you got this coming up. Sorry, audio listeners. I'm trying to. You've got basically blocks or Tetris-looking lines, and you have to save your diamond and $ and. Then the rain comes down. Anyways.
Make it rain.
Oh, yeah, I did this level here, which is kind of like Plinko, and you just got to get it into the...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
I don't know. It's a fun... you have to really think, and what a great soundtrack, right?
It really just sounds like Commodore 64 music.
It really does.
I like it.
I love it.
All right.
I'm a big
Pixel
fan.
Rain.
You know,
Light version is free in the Android marketplace.
That looks great. And anytime I see games like this, like where the levels are really hard to play, I have mad respect for the developers that created those levels. Like, how much time does it take to create like complex puzzle pages like that? It's just really cool. It's not a part of my brain that works. Think about how you design something like that.
Someday.
Pretty cool stuff.
N2 Tech in the chat room. I don't care for that game.
Okay.
If you don't want to, you don't want to use your noggin. I almost did a different game, but that was
I like that game. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, so for my second win of the year, again, you know, I love apps that are simple and just do one thing well. A lot of to-do has been made over the past couple of years over location-based services, and a lot of people use apps like Foursquare and Gowalla and all that, fun stuff. And but for everyone that I know that uses Foursquare, I always, when casually talking to people, I get 5 people who are like, oh, I don't want to share my location. I don't want people to know where I am. So I don't want to be on a social network that's tracking where I am. You know, you tinfoil hat people out there and things like that. But I thought it was really interesting when I found this app called Glimpse, which is free. And it's basically just an app to share your location. No social network needed, no posting to anything like that. It's very simple. It utilizes your phone's GPS system to do your location, and everyone knows where we are right now, so I'm not going to show anything weird. But and what happens is, here we can take a look at it. And
share your where.
Share your where.
Which doesn't make sense, but then when you talk about it just being a share your location app, then that makes perfect sense.
So, but what's really interesting about it is that what I thought was neat was that, okay, so it found me in Petaluma. You can set up a profile via Glimpse. You can add an avatar and things like that. I haven't done it yet, but and then you can send a glimpse, and it gives you numerous ways to share your location. So you can post it to Facebook, you can post it to Twitter, you can copy and paste it, you can text it to somebody. But the neat thing, and what really made me want to talk about it here, is that it will expire the post.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah,
actually.
so for the kind of thing where if I'm, like Jason, let's say we're meeting for a drink, I can say, listen, dude, I'm at this bar and expire in 10 minutes. Send you a text. Here's where I am, and it will expire in 10 minutes. So if you're, if you're nervous about your safety or your protection, and you want to be able to not have a history of where you are, just expire it. And so it's a simple way to add a message. So it's an easy way to share your location. If you're meeting people at a restaurant or an event or something like that, it's a quick and easy way to blast out. It will send out the coordinates. You can load it up in Google Maps when the person gets the link, or load it up on a web page. It's just really simple. It's just an easy way to share your location.
Now, does it just blast out where you are at the point that you send it, or does it kind of transmit where you are for that time period? So say you open it up for 30 minutes, and for 10 minutes you're here, and then you move to there. Does it follow you there?
You send it.
It's the point where you send it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually used it to track our van.
Oh, cool.
Because we drove our van from here to Vegas.
Yep.
So we were just tracking them, make sure
this
they're
is the second year
okay.
that we've used this to kind of track the TWiT
we used
location.
it for South by Southwest as well. So it's a pretty handy app.
Yeah, it's pretty light, simple, serves a purpose. Gets the word out. I mean, I know it's not a new app. I know it's it's been out there, and but like
Counts in this
it's
arena.
free. It's free,
yes.
and that it falls under the kind of the rules.
Yeah, the requirements of the Android arena are never it has to be a brand new app,
Right.
unless that's the requirement that we set for that
We
week.
could do that. Ooh, that's a good
what we
idea.
could do for next week.
It's got to be released from today to next Monday.
That could be a hard one to find, but that would be interesting, because
Or maybe-
guaranteed we'd have to find things that weren't like super popular
Yeah,
yet. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Or
Yeah.
maybe, but
Interesting.
Yeah, because the app I almost did was IMDb. I swear to God.
Wow,
because
someone really
I
was tired
used
after
that
CES.
app. I use that app all the time, and they had an update recently.
yeah. Okay, well, let's just choose that for next week.
Okay,
That'll be an
how
interesting one.
about something that was released since January 1?
Okay,
That's fine. That's
That
fair.
way it gives us a
January
little
1.
more time.
That's fair. Okay.
yeah.
January 1, 2012.
2012. There we go. I like you being specific about it.
2012.
That could be construed, and I suddenly come back with something from 2010. Because I seem to like to change the rules. Okay, so that's great. Glimpse.
Glimpse. Yep.
GLYMP.
So a safe way to share your location if you're nervous about people tracking you, and but it also keeps a history, and you can keep track of your things, and I don't know, it's neat. And you can post it to Facebook or Twitter if you want to. So yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
That's great. Okay, so we have 3 apps this week: Clockwork Mod Tether, Pixel Rain, and Glimpse. You can vote on this week's lineup of apps at bit.ly/poll43AAA. bit.ly/poll43AAA. And let us know which is your favorite apps.
I like my two observations. I like that both Eileen and I open up the poll and immediately vote for our own apps. So I did it, and then I saw her do it, so that's fine.
Pixel Rain.
And then secondly, and this is more to Tech Ace in the chat room, good to track all the wins all time, but I feel as if we wiped the slate for 2012.
Yeah.
Like
I was
it's a
about
new
to say,
season. It's a new season.
Year,
Yeah. Okay.
Bring it. 2012. Who's going to win?
So
2012?
Tech Ace, take note. If you want to keep track of all time, that's cool. But let's start from scratch right now. I'm in first place.
And Tech Ace 01, thank you.
Yes, thank
for
you,
your
man.
continued
Yes, thank you
support
so
on
much.
tracking
For
this.
our
That's
unofficial
awesome that you do that.
statistician.
know,
All of
artificial-
an Android statistician.
That's right.
That's a hard word to say.
It is.
Statistician.
So is Samsung. Sometimes.
Wow, look,
Samsung.
Pixel
I
Rain.
did it right this time.
Edging out ahead a little bit.
bit. Pixel Rain.
All right, we'll see where that lands for next Monday's episode. Normal time next Monday,
Yeah,
right?
normal. We're back to normal.
Back to Monday.
Thank you guys.
Is it
5 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, Monday.
So we'll do that,
Monday,
and our
Monday.
PM-ish.
Yeah, right around there. Our app will be released since January 1st, 2012. That's the initial release, not a
gonna be
revision.
hard.
No, yeah, no.
No,
It's brand new
New
release,
app, brand
yes,
new as of
exactly.
January 1st, 2012. This should be an interesting one. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see where this
And any
ends up.
developers out there that have new releases,
Yeah.
no,
Let us
seriously,
know, seriously.
post to Twitter, post to like
At Android Show.
at Android Show or at any of us directly, and we'll take a look at your apps.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's an open. Don't tell the PR people who email me every day about their apps.
Yeah, because this is all about finding new undiscovered apps right here. So
I think this is
great.
going to be a hard one, you guys.
I think it's going to be a hard one, too.
I'm excited. I like
hard
the
to
challenge.
decide.
I like the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that is it for this week. We're keeping it a little bit short because we didn't have a whole lot of news post CES, and we do have a full roster of TWiT shows to follow us. Normally, we have all the time in the world, but we don't today.
And we just talk and talk and talk.
As you well know. So, Ron, go ahead and plug.
Yes. Well, if you like me, you can catch more of me on TWiT today.
It's true.
I'm going to be on Tech News today.
You can call him Ron Merritt today.
Yeah,
Ron Merritt,
I'm filling in for Tom Merritt today. So, but and then after today, if you like me, you can check everything all about me at about.me/RonXO, and that's where all my links to Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and all the fun stuff are there. And by day, you can check me out at graphically.com, which is digital comics. We got apps for Android, Nook, and Kindle Fire and stuff like that. As well as if you like comic books, go to ifanboy.com, which is my website.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Eileen.
You can find me on Twitter at Eileen TV. Also about.me/Eileen Rose, or my PR agent.
Gplus.to/Eileen TV.
One day you'll get it.
One day I'll remember.
I just don't even want to try.
I know. You've given up on trying.
I have.
I'm at Raygun01 on Twitter, and you can also visit about.me/Jason Howell. That is it for this week's edition of All About Android. Send us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. We'll play it hopefully in next week's episode. Email and video mail can be sent to aaa@twit.tv. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Android Show. Find the show notes, twit.tv/AAA. And finally, our normal recording time is next Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. You can watch the show recorded live right before your very eyes. That's it for this week. Have a fantastic rest of your week.
Chad Johnson,
Thank you, Chad, because you were always awesome. We love you.
Work for the show.
He's the man.
We love you and your red hair. You keep it up, man. All right, see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.